Hi everyone! So this module will be talking about variables, power, effect size, and error. There are two major types of variables, dependent and independent variables. An independent variable, or predictor variable, is the presumed cause, whereas the dependent variable, or outcome variable, is the presumed effect. A dependent variable is something that depends on other factors. For example, a test score could be a dependent variable because it could change depending upon several factors, such as how much you studied, how much sleep you got the night before you took the test, or even how hungry you were when you took it. Usually when you are looking for a relationship between two things, you are trying to find out what makes the dependent variable change the way it does. An independent variable is a variable that stands alone and isn't changed by other variables you are trying to measure. For example, someone's age might be an independent variable. Other factors, such as what they eat, how much they go to school, how much television they watch, aren't going to change a person's age. In fact, when you are looking for some kind of relationship between variables, you're really trying to see if the independent variable causes some sort of change in the other variables or the dependent variables. Another way to think about it is in an experiment. The independent variable is the variable that is varied or manipulated by the researcher, and the dependent variable is the response that is measured. Many people have trouble remembering which is the independent variable and which is the dependent variable. So an easy way to remember is to insert the names of the two variables you are using in the following sentence in the way that makes the most sense. Then you can figure out which is the independent and which is the dependent variable. So here's the sentence. Independent variable causes a change in dependent variable. And it isn't possible that dependent variable could cause a change in independent variable. So here's an example using that sentence. Time spent studying prior to test 1 causes a change in test 1 score. And it isn't possible that test 1 score could cause a change in time spent studying prior to test 1. We see that time spent studying must be the independent variable, and test score must be the dependent variable, because the sentence doesn't make sense the other way around. The next 3 slides give some examples to help you practice identifying independent and dependent variables. Example 1. A scientist studies the impact of a drug on cancer. So what's the independent variable and what's the dependent variable? Well, the independent variable is the administration of the drug. Was it administered or not? The dependent variable is cancer status. Did their cancer improve or did it not improve? The next example, there will be a statistically significant difference in graduation rates of high-risk high school seniors who participate in an intensive study program, as opposed to at-risk high school seniors who do not participate in the intensive study program. So this is an example of an alternative hypothesis. So we want to identify what the independent and dependent variables are. Well, the independent variable is participation in the intensive study program, yes, measured as yes or no. And the dependent variable is graduation status. Did they graduate or did they not graduate? The third example, a director of residential living on a large university campus is concerned about the large turnover rate in resident assistants. In recent years, many resident assistants have left their positions before completing even 1 year of their assignments. The director wants to identify the factors that predict commitment as a resident assistant, defined as continuing in the position for a minimum of 2 years. The director decides to assess knowledge of the position, attitude toward residential policies, and the ability to handle conflicts as predictors for commitment to the position. So the independent variable here is knowledge of the position, also attitude towards policies, and the ability to handle conflicts. So you can see here there are 3 independent variables, which is okay and will happen. The dependent variable is commitment to the position. So will they continue for 2 years or will they not continue for 2 years?